Can the folks remote hear us? Yes, all right. Can somebody remote talk so I can make sure that you're coming through?
Hello?
Hello.
Yes.
That's what I was afraid of. I'm not hearing anything over there. Is the audio system on?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So I'm not hearing anybody remote.
Check the others.
Yeah, just make sure it's like not muted or something, so it'll.
One good place on there.
Yeah.
Is that the right settings usually?
Do the.
Do you hear us
system.
now?
Oh, so it's.
Can someone remote talk?
Hello.
Yes. Hello?
There we go, it's right.
It's not perfect, but it'll work for now.
Okay.
Hold on, try,
I thought I might hear an echo. No.
yeah,
Okay.
no, that's why it's not doing what it's supposed to. Try a different.
We
can hear
We
can hear each other. I can hear everybody really clearly who's trying to
No,
talk
it's what's
to you.
coming through in the room.
I know, I'm
Wasn't
just
there
wondering
a
if it's
remote one time?
TV on the remote sometime on the in the room once I had it too low.
Was somebody wrote something. All right. Well, that must be the whole system. I have no idea. We have a short meeting, so let's call it to order. Remote folks can hear the folks in the room. The folks who are remote we'll just have to squint a little to listen. So we're going to call the meeting to order. This is the Tuesday, August 25th, 2026 regular meeting of the Livingston Borough Planning Board. This in-person and virtual meeting is called pursuant to the updated provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act. Both adequate and electronic notice of this in-person and virtual meeting has been provided by way of publication in the Hunterdon County Democrat and Courier News newspapers beginning in January 2026. In addition, notice of the meeting is posted on the door of the Borough of Flemington Municipal Building located at 38 Park Avenue and any handicapped accessible entrances there too. Posted on the municipal website as per the new OPMA requirements, provided to the municipal clerk and distributed to all persons, if any, requesting copies of same. This meeting is being recorded with both audio and video and may be rebroadcast. This meeting is a judicial proceeding. Any questions or comments must be limited to the issues that are relevant to what the board may legally consider in reaching a decision, and decorum appropriate to a judicial hearing must be maintained at all times. Ask everyone please rise as you are able for the flag salute. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please call the roll.
Mayor Carroll. Here. Mr. Campion.
Here.
Council Vice President Engelhardt. Here. Mr. Doshna.
Here.
Ms. Giffen.
Here.
Mr. Schlinger.
Here.
Mr. Schob.
Here.
Ms. Swingle. She on it?
She is on, but she.
Here.
Okay. Ms. Weitzman.
Here.
Mr. Hain.
Here.
Mr. Eckel is excused. Mr. Pagers.
Here.
Attorney Kaczynski.
Here.
Planner Kyle.
Here.
Engineers Clerico and Troutman are excused.
Okay, this is a relatively straightforward agenda this evening, so we'll start as we always do. Item 1, period for public comments for items not currently in front of the board. I'll make note that there's nobody in the room and there's nobody on Zoom, so we can probably move on to item 2 on the agenda for mayor's comments.
Do we have any tonight?
Thank you. Council comments.
None here either.
Fantastic. HPC.
We had our meeting on August 19th and we had 3 approvals, which Caitlin forwarded to the planning board on the 21st.
Okay, you know what, Dennis, we're having trouble hearing. So you know what? Here's what you're gonna do. This is gonna drive me crazy. Move that microphone closer to the laptop and then maybe it'll. pick it up.
I had to plug everything in. I guess maybe they had unplugged things for the windows, so maybe there are other things that aren't
That's
plugged
what
in.
happened. All right, well,
Let's do this.
maybe we could move the laptop and. Try talking now, Dennis.
Is this any better?
No,
Yeah,
try again.
How's this?
It's not coming
Is it-
through the laptop.
It's come through the
It's coming
TV.
through the
You said move it to the TV.
Did you try?
Actually, try the
that?
volume on the TV.
There you go.
We got
We
there.
got 17 people in there.
Not this
Somebody's.
This is not the TV remote though. Where's the TV remote?
That is the TV.
That is it.
He said there are 3 applications. He said there are 3 applications. He distributed them all to Caitlin via email.
And I didn't hear it.
That's not what we wanted to do.
That's not what we want to do.
Cool. Okay.
Well, I think we
Go
were
to
kind of.
inputs.
Oh, you just.
Well, there's,
Just inputs. Use the arrow. Go to inputs. It's HDMI one.
Oh.
Is it just him or can you not hear me either?
No, we hear you. It's just, it's not great.
Oh, okay.
Well, now it's on the laptop.
This is fantastic.
you know where the volume is on.
It's usually on the side.
On the side.
Okay. I don't have this one.
But it's already cranked up. That's it. But
That was-
now we don't see them.
Yeah, now it's not connected, I don't think.
I mean,
You don't really need to see us tonight.
well, we kind of do. No, it's HDMI. It's
It's
I
3.
think it's, no, there it
There
is.
we go.
There, all right. Dennis, let's try again with the reporter. Go ahead.
How's this? Any better?
Now it's running on the laptop.
Now it's coming
But
out.
yeah, you can raise the volume on the laptop.
Hold on, I got the mouse here. Let me see what I can do.
I was at this one, I was at the PC, I can tell you, what happened until I left.
Okay, try talking now.
How's this? Any better?
No.
No, that's what.
This works. Okay. As close as loud as it is. I don't think that's,
There is
Close.
we,
Try it.
I've never seen that plugged in there, but we can try. Dennis, try one more time.
Can you hear me?
No. All right, laptop, and that'll just be, Dennis, just, shout it out, loud and proud.
Okay, so we had 3 approvals. The first one was 6 Brown Street, a fence was approved. Second one is 61 Bunnell Street, porch was approved with recommended modifications. And the third one was 36 Broad Street, rear deck was approved. That's it for me.
Thank you for keeping it short, even though it took an hour to get there. Melissa, Environmental Commission,
No comments.
thank you. We have just a few things on professional reports, which is why I've got Jim on as well as Kara. So Kara, why don't you start?
Okay, so I'm just looking at the document, the last red line document that was circulated to the board. We had decided that we were going to do a blanket increase across the board for each fee. So that's basically what this reflects. There are some questions in there, such as, do we really still need a boundary line adjustment application? Essentially, it's a subdivision. So I don't necessarily know if we need that particular application distinction. Jim may want to weigh in on that. I have some other questions in there. I included some other items such as amended major site plan, amended minor site plan. I know there were some questions or some pushback at times when we do need an amendment. We didn't really have a set fee. And it seemed like the original fee wasn't really fair since it's based a lot on cost, square footage, et cetera. So that was a question I had in there. We discussed increasing the application fees by 20%. One of the other questions I had, do we want to increase the escrows as well? I certainly think we should increase the escrows, whether 20% is something that the board's interested in or not. it's up to you. Obviously, that is a little bit less of an issue because that continues to be replenished as necessary throughout the application. When we continue to move down, I had some other questions. We do have additional escrow fees in the ordinance for the planner and the attorney. And that really should say additional application fees, as opposed to escrow fees now that I'm looking at it. But I don't know if there's an inclination to also do them for other professionals across the board. I don't really know how everybody bills for those. I know I bill the board directly for time associated with applications, for attendance at meetings, which is really what this section is focused on, number of public hearings. So, again, just something that I wanted to point out and have the board discuss. And then we really get down to what I think was a big part of what we wanted to do here as well, which talks about how we're going to require replenishment of escrow. And I felt like there's a lot of red line there, but I felt like it was kind of cumbersome the way that it was drafted. So we do have to keep track, obviously, of escrow fees. I think that, and billings, I think that internally among the professionals, we should be coming up with some sort of way where the escrow amount is looked at after bills are provided to the board. And, there's it's a consistent procedure, I guess, basically, which we can discuss how best to do that. But I felt that once we determine that additional fees are required when it goes down to 35% or less, my thought was, don't replenish it to 65% of the original fee. Just replenish it back to what it originally was. Again, this is something that's an ongoing, moving issue. They get back whatever we don't spend, and we ask for more if we need it. So, it just seemed to me to be a little bit easier to say, just bring it back to what the original amount was. So we're not saying they're calculating on a regular basis what, the new percentage is. It goes on for, additional fees, variance fees, et cetera. I added one for a non-conforming use certificate. We never had one for that, so I put that in there. And a little description. I also added one for a special meeting fee in the last chart. There was something in there talking about zoning, historic district, residential fee. I'm not quite sure what that was. Maybe somebody knows exactly what that referred to, the first section of the last chart. Then the very end just kind of explains to people what the fees are for, how they're governed, and just, a little more information for applicants that might not be as familiar with this sort of thing. So that's where we are. I don't know if I missed anything that anyone else wanted to touch on, to either change or incorporate, but I figured this was a good jumping off point for all of us to discuss.
So this was circulated back on the 11th. I hope that everyone's had a chance to look at it, and now that we've got a little bit of context for it, there were a couple of so does anybody, let's start with, does anybody have any concerns or questions for Kara?
Could you repeat, because I looked at it, but I can't pull up stuff here in real time. Can you just repeat, Kara, what you said about that the last one where you wanted to know if anybody else had any historical context?
Yeah, so if we go all the way to the very last chart that was included, which, again, this is a red line, so this is our current ordinance that's in there, and it talks about, it says application type, and it says zoning, historic district, residential, and then the application fee says no fee, it's included with the cost of a building permit fee. So I had no idea what that was, so I didn't really know if it needed to be changed, if it could be deleted. I mean, when you're getting a building permit fee, is there an additional fee associated with it if it's in the historic district? I mean, if that's the case, I don't even think this needs to be here, because these are.
And is there a fee for HPC review?
No, there isn't. I wonder if that's what it's referring to. There's no fee for the HPC review.
Yeah, it's not how it's worded. Maybe that is what it is, but you know, it seems to say included with cost of building permit fee. And if that's the case for whatever it is, I still don't think it belongs here because building permit fees are in a completely separate section, at least from what I'm seeing here. We don't incorporate building. Oh, no, actually we do. If you scroll up,
COs and stuff in here.
yeah, if you scroll up, there is building permit, conflict with official map. I mean, I maybe the construction official needs to kind of take a look at this with us and weigh in on if some of these need to be changed. Maybe they need to be clarified a little bit.
Oh, I definitely think that our construction official and our code enforcer should both take a look at it.
Yeah.
Right.
Or property maintenance person.
It's a good idea. So before we get there, let's give them something that we are mostly comfortable with, and then we can have them look at it, and then the eventually's gotta get to council anyway. So there were a couple of questions that Kara put in the doc.
But
Yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I just wanted to flesh out this idea of replenishing the escrow, because that is such a concern. And I don't know if that's our deputy treasurer's responsibility, if it's our secretary's responsibility, but I don't know what that is. I mean, about how to check on it, I mean, if
It's
we
a
have,
constant problem, Mayor. It's a constant problem. Typically it is the secretary that does do it and looks at it because the board collects it. The secretary is in charge of the invoices and billing against it and things like that. But it's a constant problem because unless there is a very specific, every professional has to have their bills in by this time, and then it goes on the bill list, and then it goes to the board, and then we look at the status, which honestly, I don't know of any board that's been able to accomplish that. It's a rolling reduction. So, unless it's a situation where the board is comfortable with, looking at the escrows on a, every 2 months or every month, or again, I think collectively we need to come up with something because, putting my private hat on, I get constantly all the time, the night before a meeting, a request for an escrow because they just looked at it then and realized that.
Let's turn to our professional, ask Caitlin. So what do you recommend, or how would you do it?
So
You were shaking your head, Caitlin, that's why, yeah.
the first thing is that, as we know, one of the reasons this is being addressed, the escrows are way too low. So I can get a bill from, an engineer for $6,000, that wipes out the entire escrow right there. So I have been requesting replenishment continually, almost for every application that we have. So if the escrows were larger to begin with, we would be having less of a problem because there would be more money there.
So you're already managing them and you're comfortably managing them.
Not comfortably, because like I said,
But if they were bigger,
but I can get 1 or 2 bills and then the escrow's gone and then we have a meeting, and I know, the professionals are doing work against a zero balance, which I'm uncomfortable with. I'm sure they're uncomfortable with. So it's it's currently a problem because there's too little money to start with.
Okay.
So, I'm constantly going back, we need another.
So is 20% enough of an increase for escrows? Do we want to do
I
more
don't
than
think
that?
so. Honestly, I don't think it is. I would say 25 at a minimum. I think probably closer to 30 would be better.
Seeing as we haven't adjusted these in a very long time, I don't think it's unreasonable. I mean, and obviously this is money that's gonna get used in the project and it's money that'll get refunded at the end when it's done, so. I mean,
And also, again, like going back to the differences, like obviously the Jaja application is requiring more money than the YMCA application is going to. So
Right.
that needs to be addressed as well upfront, that we're gonna get more money for an application of that type as opposed to something more simple.
So,
When you put an application in for a permit with the DCA, your fee is based on the estimated construction costs. when you file an application here with like a building permit, your fee is based on the estimated construction cost. So why
What
don't we
would the
do
estimate?
something, yeah, what, that's my number, that's one question. My next question
Well,
is,
that's kind of sort of how it's written. We've got a chart that says if it's a, you know, with X number of dollars, if it's $1 million project, line 10, there's a amount of escrow plus 2% of the amount over $1 million, that kind of thing. Like, we have that kind of in there.
but I guess
We're using that
my
framework.
question, I realize that, but my question is that breakdown realistic and appropriate, the amounts in there? Because construction costs have gone up tremendously since that chart was even written. So maybe we look at the amounts on the chart in addition to the percentage of the construction costs.
So your suggestion is to take the chart that's the first, well, it's not, it's the third table. That's 0 to 3,000, 3,000 to 5,000, and maybe think about whether or not we want to adjust. There are 10 categories, and maybe we need to adjust those bins, you're saying, based on current costs.
Yeah,
Who would be the best person, professional, to ask what those breakpoints should be?
John,
Okay, so that's something we'll ask him then, okay.
I think. I had another question for Caitlin to kind of follow up,
Go ahead.
because, I mean, the planning board, the planning board secretary, and Mark knows, and Marcia knows, as long as I can remember, has always managed these escrows, right? But like when Diane was the, years and years ago, she was also the clerk,
Deputy
so,
clerk, yeah.
right, so she was in the office quite a bit. I guess my question is, we've had both Eileen and Caitlin be part-time, is there anything in our employee manual, and again, it's not something we can necessarily answer right now, I think we need to look it up, that defines like a deputy that Caitlin can tag team with
No.
on this issue?
There isn't, and I mean, the deputy treasurer handles the escrows after they leave the planning board, right? So,
And that's in her
her
personnel
doc,
description.
yeah.
In the,
Well, that's typical, it would be Bill Hams delegated to,
I was on that committee, so I'm not familiar with
yeah,
that,
no,
with
it
that
would,
detail.
yeah, so for instance, any escrows for Liberty Village right now are going through Liz, right?
Because they pull permits and.
Right,
Right.
right. Captiva wants to pursue the SEMA thing, they need an escrow account for our engineer, it's gonna be managed through Liz. When it's here, it's her, when it's out of here, it's her.
So,
So actually, I
I
have
guess I'd like your opinion on that.
I have an
If there's any
issue.
improvement that's needed.
with that too. For example, I have bills that Liz gives me from Captiva, from Liberty Village. And she says, well, the planning board has to approve those because they're escrow. And I say, this is not
No.
planning board work.
No.
This is like, I have a bill right here with memos to you from Dilworth Paxton or Paxton.
Right, they should,
Emails and
right.
memos to you,
Correct, they should
that's
be
not
going
planning.
That's the
through,
council.
Right,
Right.
but she doesn't wanna, she thinks if it's escrow, it comes through the planning board.
okay,
Well,
so
we need to
that
obviously
that
clarify
we can
that.
clear up outside of the ordinance discussion, I think
Yeah.
that's an important point for us to fix. So it sounds like you're reviewing the escrows regularly.
Yes,
To Kara's question, is it worth putting in the ordinance that some sort of fixed schedule, like upon the audit of the bills, the balance will be reviewed by the planning board secretary, and like some sort of mechanism to make that codified? I don't know, is that what you're going for, Kara? Like,
I mean, not really. I don't necessarily think that needs to be in there unless somebody feels otherwise. I think if we have our own, I was more concerned about making sure we have an internal procedure not knowing really how Caitlin's been doing it. And it sounds to me like she's on top of everything and she has a way where she does it. She needs some help because it's getting exhausted too quickly. And maybe that fixes it. Maybe it doesn't fix it. Maybe we try starting with that and maybe we do need something else. But it sounds to me like she's got her own procedure. She's dealing with things as they come in. She needs more.
Is it inappropriate? So, with our engineer, which is, generally the biggest bills, is it inappropriate to ask him, like, if he knows that we started with a $50,000 escrow and his first bill is like $32,000, that he knows before he does any other work, he like forewarned Caitlin that, or I don't know the answer. I agree with Caitlin, we should go to like at least 30%.
I think that's an internal process. I don't think that hurts. If we do an across the board, hey, if anybody knows that they're coming in with a bill that's over 10 grand or over,
over
whatever, a certain amount, just to kind of shoot her a quick email and say, hey, this.
Are you aware of what these escrow numbers are when they're first established? Because maybe that's where we start. We start by telling our professionals, this is their escrow. So if you have a bill, are you yelling at your dog, Sarah?
Yes, she is.
My daughter just got home, so I'm telling her to take him outside immediately.
Okay.
She's so cute. But maybe we start with besides going to 30%, we start out by having, Caitlin email all the professionals that this is the beginning escrow number. And if you're gonna be submitting a bill that's more than some percent, whether it's 30% of the escrow or 25% of the escrow, that, she needs to check to make sure everybody else hasn't submitted things as well before anybody does extra work. But I think we should go at least to 30.
So
If that's the real number, Caitlin, don't be scared. Is it really 30? Should we go to 35?
I wouldn't say no to 35.
So it sounds like, let's start with 30. Carol, let's start with 30 and then let's have the construction and zoning folks look at this and see, especially around the size of the projects and if these are the right breakpoints in that 10-row column, that 10-row table. And we can go from there. Another question that you had in here, Carol, was about, it lists the planner and it lists the attorney, but it doesn't list the other professionals explicitly.
Correct.
And I can't imagine, and this goes to the point that you're raising about the clerical big bill kind of situation. Not every project is gonna have the need for Jay to do a tremendous amount of work, but almost every project, there's a clerical bill. And so it might be worth explicitly putting an additional note in there for the, just like what if, because the basic fee of the attorney and the basic fee for the planner is just to cover kind of the bare bones of getting things started. Like there should be, I think, a similar number for engineering. The planner number is at 600, is proposed to go from 500 to 600. The attorney number is proposed to go from 350 to 420, with an additional bump for the attorney for any application requiring a public hearing. I think we need to add the engineer, and it should be a number similar to the planner. I mean, not more, given just the way these are. Because for if Bob's going to spend 2 hours looking at something, that's $600, right? Done. Yep. And 200 is the bare minimum of him looking at it to see how long it's going to take him to look at it. Right.
Yeah, I wasn't really sure what everybody's hourly was, so that's kind of leaves me operating at a deficit there too. But it's you guys know better what we should be including here. I can add the engineer. And actually, why don't I do this? Why don't I add both and maybe change either make it perfectly clear across the board if there's a public hearing that they're going to be attending, this needs to be included as a fee.
Yep, exactly. And I think we should say that our meetings are 3 hours. Here's what I'm gonna suggest. Our meetings are, by our bylaws, a 3-hour meeting, 7 to 10, right?
Yep.
That fee should be 3 hours of their rate.
Okay, all right.
And I know it's an ordinance, so you need a number, but I know we can't get this through the lawyer, but I would love it to be more like 3 times their approved hourly rate, and so it's evergreen. If we can do that, I'd love that, but if you have to put a number on it, then just look at the current numbers.
I don't see why we need to, because that's the point. To me, it makes sense. You have a reason why you're doing it like that, and that changes. So you don't want to be changing the numbers constantly.
Yeah, exactly.
So it shall be set at, 3 hours of the hourly rate approved at the annual reorg meeting.
Yep,
And that way we don't have to change the section ever again.
yep. All right, I like
We
that.
only get one meeting. Right?
Yep.
So Kara, are you gonna make these changes before I forward them on to Donna?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I'll make those changes either tonight or tomorrow, forward it over, and then you can send it along and see what other comments they have for
Yeah,
sure.
why are you reluctant to go to the 35%?
I'm not.
30.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying, let's start at 30 and ask our
Oh,
code
oh,
officials to see if they think this can be enough.
okay.
I mean, yeah, I'm not, yeah, Dennis, good.
Yeah, I'm a proponent, like, to round these dollars up. Like, can't we just, instead of 240, round to 300 on these? Like, keep everything rounded up? I don't know how old these are, but raising them 20%, if they're very old, I would recommend we round the numbers up.
Listen, I'm okay with that. The direction was 20%, so I literally did 20%,
Yeah.
but I have no problem going to the highest 100 or highest 50 or whatever you guys decide.
Start with 30 and go to the closest 50. How's that?
Got it.
But that's the
round
escrow,
up.
right? Are you talking also the application fees? Jeff, I just want to make sure, because
I
that's what I was
everything.
talking about.
I'm looking at all
Okay.
of the tables,
Okay,
right? Like, why should for D variance, why should the escrow fee go to 840 is 20% more than 700, but I'm with you, make it 900 and call it, or 850 and call it even. Right, it's just
Exactly.
840 is a weird number. That's a good point.
That's fine.
Okay. And did anyone else have other notes or concerns? Okay, so Carrie, you have what you need. You'll make some changes. We'll get it to circulate back to the full board and then also to our code folks and see if they have comments. And if you wouldn't mind, since they're not here to hear this, just I'd appreciate if you could also just send a copy to Clerico and to Jay, just to make sure that they understand, and so in case that they've got a concern about some of the numbers.
Yep, you got it.
Anybody else? Thank you, this is good.
Thank you.
All right, Jim, master plan.
So the master plan committee met last week. I have some other revisions that I have to get together. I will send a revised document out to the MPC one more time. We will probably meet again, and then we'll try to get the board a draft. Jeff, just remind me, we were going to look at the draft at the September meeting.
Yeah.
And potentially schedule a public hearing sometime in October, provided that the board is okay with the draft.
That was the plan, yeah.
So we're moving in that direction. So I think the board will see the draft at the second meeting in September.
The other thing that came out of our discussion, and I'm just saying this for Dennis is on the committee, so he knows this, but I'm saying this so Melissa, you're aware of this as well. We're gonna want environmental and HPC to look at some of the draft language as well. Environmental in particular around the climate action section of it's a bit more substantive than it was. Dennis kind of already knows the HPC sections that we talked about. So just the idea would be Jim was going to circulate it so that we could get some comments in your September meetings, hopefully some discussions around those, so that the board can get on September 22nd, a fairly complete draft for, not as the formal hearing will happen after, but just everyone can review a draft, and then we'll do the formal hearing in October, kind of working around applications to make sure that we've got time for it. All right, and turntable, where are we at with that?
So I was out at the property with the owner of 8 of the 14 properties that were identified last week. Assessed some things, so that is ongoing. We'll look at the report and determine when we can decide on a public hearing.
Great, thanks. So item 7 on the agenda is approval of the minutes from August 11th. Those were circulated. There was something that there was a correction.
I have a correction, yeah, so on section D, questions from board members. I mistakenly identified Ms. Weitzman as asking these questions when they were actually asked by Mr. Papers. So that is a correction, as I said, on page
She's your twin sister.
I think I cut and pasted the name and I got
You got the
I
name.
did the wrong cut and paste.
So with that correction, can I get a motion on the minutes?
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you.
Was that
That was
Hannah?
Hannah.
Okay.
Any further discussion or corrections on the minutes? Please call the roll.
Mayor Carroll,
Abstain.
Mr. Campion,
Yes.
Council Vice President Engelhardt,
Abstain.
Mr. Dashna.
Yes.
Ms. Giffen,
Abstain.
Mr. Schlanger,
Yes.
Mr. Schob,
Yes.
Ms. Swingle,
Yes.
Mr. Hain.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Item 8 on the agenda is the resolution for the YMCA. That got circulated, correct?
It did. So it got circulated, and throughout the day, there were some questions, changes from applicants' counsel and Bob. We went back and forth. The changes have all been agreed to by everyone, and I did circulate the final red line. I obviously have to accept all of them. We've got some formatting issues I just need to deal with. But the red line does not change anything substantive. There were some factual corrections, spelling sections to correct. The only two, and nothing to the conditions. The only condition changes were we removed a request for lighting relief and clarified that, and removed a request for the parking space sign size, removing the issue with regard to the overhang. Bob agreed that both of those were appropriate. So it's really up to the board. I mean, I know it was circulated late. If you'd like to adopt it tonight, we could certainly do that. I'll make all the, accept all the changes before it's executed, or we could put it on the next agenda. It's completely up to you.
I'm okay moving forward with it.
So I'm just going to the bottom of the thing to see who's eligible. I just want to kind of, so who voted, everyone, so Engelhardt, Weitzman, Caro Campion, Dashna, Giffen, Schlanger, Schob, Swingle are eligible to vote because they all voted for the approval. So, does anyone have let me just informally, does anyone have a concern about moving forward?
No. I do.
Okay, so can I get a motion then to adopt the most recent version of the resolution, which was circulated about an hour and a half before the meeting, but I don't have a resolution number, but it's 64 Captain Street, Block 15, Lot 5.
I'll move it.
I'll second.
Melissa moved, Marcia second. Any further discussion? Call roll, please.
Mayor Carroll,
Yes.
Mr. Campion,
Yes.
Council Vice President Engelhardt,
Yes.
Mr. Dashna.
Yes.
Ms. Giffen,
Yes.
Mr. Schlanger,
Yes.
Mr. Schob,
Yes.
Ms. Swingle,
Yes.
Ms. Weitzman?
yes,
That's 9, thank you.
Thank you.
I thank you, and I do have, Mr. Chair, the resolution number, and the application number from Caitlin, so I'll insert that in it as well.
Great. When, did I sign the bottom sheet for that for you yet, or is that the other one? That was the other one.
Yeah.
Okay. That was Spark, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Let me know when we're ready to go and I'll stop out.
Let's do that front.
All right, the next item, chair items, so we have. In September, the meetings are the 8th and the 22nd. The meeting on the 8th is the rescue squad, I believe, is noticed for their public hearing. The 22nd, if we need to carry the rescue squad, I think that was there, and then we had. As Jim mentioned, we're gonna have the preliminary review of the proposed amendments for the master plan. Not the formal public hearing, but just kind of a work session for that.
Just a reminder, Chair, that Councilwoman and I are both recused from the rescue squad application, so if you could adjust the agenda accordingly.
Absolutely, we'll make sure that we do business.
And I should say, that it's correct carried.
Yes. Thank you for letting me. Was there any other open applications? I think that was it here, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Anybody else have anything else, chair, under chair items? Okay, bills, there were bills, can I get a motion on it, the bills?
Engelhardt will move.
No second.
Roll please.
Mayor Carroll,
Yes.
Mr. Campion,
yes,
Council Vice President Engelhardt,
Yes,
Mr. Dashna.
Yes.
Ms. Giffen,
yes,
Mr. Schlanger,
Yes.
Mr. Schob,
yes,
Ms. Swingle,
yes.
Ms. Weitzman,
yes.
thank you.
All right, Kara, do we need to go to executive session?
Do not.
Thank you, motion to adjourn. Move. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Have a good night all.
Thanks,
See you,
everyone. Have a
everybody.
good night.
Bye.